trying something new today, so Kathy's on vacation. She decided to go goof off. So Zach is standing in as her lovely assistant. So he's running the PowerPoint this morning, so if we have any little hiccups, he's like beginner PowerPoint trained, so everybody bear with him. I'm giving him a hard time now. He'll do fine. We're also doing live stream on YouTube today. So we've had issues in the past with phones having enough memory to be able to capture the video and then upload it later. So we want to make sure that we capture this. We'll have it on the Gallant Few YouTube page. So anybody wants to go back and look at it or share it, it's there so we can do that. So hopefully that will work as well. So before we get started, let's go around the room and do introductions. And then after that, we'll go into the Pledge of Allegiance and go from there. So now we'll start in the back.
Greenwood Army Air Force.
Emily Laddish, Air Force.
Eric Wright, Army retired.
Johnny Lewis, Navy. Mark Martell's Army.
Rob Bickle, Army.
Lucilla, Navy.
Skip Hayslip, Army.
Dennis Sheridan, Army.
Jacob Warner, Marines.
You can still introduce yourself.
Andy Tunison, Air Force. Yes, sir. Ben Rhodes, Air Force.
Carl Munger, Army. If you would all please rise, let's honor our nation. For those of you who don't have it memorized. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. And if you would please remain standing for just a moment. Here at the front we have a place setting for those who are not able to join us today. And if you would like to offer a silent prayer for this group or anybody else, please do so at this time. All right, thank you. Please be seated. So by way of announcements, let's see, what do we have coming up? We've got Veterans Day coming up, a couple of things. Lou, you want to go first? Go ahead.
Where I go last?
No, please. Age before beauty.
Beauty and age. Anyway, next Tuesday, 9:30, over in the Cafe Republic on Beach Street at 9:30, is a veteran group that was unnamed for a while. But anyway, 9:30, it's a lunch, it's fellowship. The 21st September on the 3rd, that's the second Tuesday, by the way, every month. The following Thursday is the Keller area and North Carolina Veterans Group meeting at Tio Carlos at 11:30. The speaker is Ed Yassari, a Korean War veteran who was on board the shore escorts, and he volunteered on the shore with rock troops on raiding party behind me. He had a very interesting speaker. Tio Carlos on Main Street, California.
Say again what day that's
That's the 21st of September on a Thursday.
September 21st. Okay. All right. Other announcements. Gallant Few's Run Range Run's going on right now. Zach and I are modeling the shirts. If you want to join a team or support a team, get with either of us. And funds raised from that go to help us connect, coach, and counsel more veterans. Veterans Day is coming. Tommy, you want to talk briefly about it?
Yeah, I wanted to extend an invitation or an offer, I guess, and then turn it into a my wife and I would love to host the group to our house for a brunch on probably not Veterans Day. I think it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but if that's the day that's desired, but probably the Saturday before, have everybody come over. If we want to run the Metroport meeting that from our house, we can do that. If the weather's good, we can do it outside. If the weather's bad, we can move inside, of course, except for the Marines are outside that way.
Somebody's got to protect the rest of
Somebody's got to protect the house, right? There you go. So, no, but and all in good fun, but my wife would love to have everybody. Bring your spouses if you'd like, but it should be a good time. It's up to you guys what date makes the most sense, whether it's the weekend before or the Any thoughts around that at all?
We know the town's gonna do something at 11 o'clock on Veterans Day, and that's that Saturday.
That's Saturday.
The second Saturday is Veterans Day.
Yeah,
In
so you have a choice. We could do it early at our house if everybody wanted to get up and rally. Any thoughts, crew?
What do you guys think?
I know you said brunch, but the town stuff's usually over by 12.
Oh, yeah, it's an hour.
It'd be like early
We can do it, we can go,
early afterwards.
yeah, that'd be just fine. I'm good with that.
That's just a thought.
No, it's perfectly good with us. We're over in the Knoll, if you know where, I don't know if you know.
The danger doing it after is we'll say, hey, everybody come to Tommy's house.
That may not be the best. But then again, you can always close the gate.
It was sort of. There's a gate code, I'm sure people can figure it out. But seriously, you guys want to do it on Veterans Day, the weekend before? What do you think? Veterans Day work?
Veterans Day sounds good to me.
All right, then we'll maybe make the announcement through the Metroports thing as opposed to the town. Town's of course welcome, come say thank you to everybody, but
Well, we can also say reservations required. So if you want to get a head count, we
yeah.
can set up an online,
Okay.
put your name in here so we plan for food and stuff.
All right, that sounds great.
Okay.
Excellent, and
So-
because these guys have been so good, they'll be at least part of the food. So, all right, well, thank you, everybody.
Tommy, thanks, that's very generous of you.
Yeah, our pleasure.
So that kind of decides we're going to do our climbing plan the following Saturday. Trying to think what else. Running through my mind events in October, so we don't have the thing from last time. Is there anything, anybody know of anything that's happening in October the group needs to know about? How about speaker for next month? You know who that is? You'll have to look, that's all right. I'll set it for now. If you want to tell your story, like Doug's getting ready to do, get with Zach and we'll get you on the schedule, right? A bunch of us in the room have done that, and don't feel pressured to have to do it, but it's really amazing to hear everybody's different story and their experiences in Doug?
I got an email from program coordinator, program I'm in, about the Fields of Honor down at the Arlington Veterans Memorial Park, Spanish Trail and Arkansas Lane. Starts today, it opens today, and it'll be going for a week. My intention is, my plan is after I'm finished with my morning's activities, I'm going to go there and see what they have to offer. I went by there last night, took a good look at all the flags they planted, and this afternoon, after everything's going on, I'm going to go and visit the Health Center to find out what it's all about. So it is for veterans, all services. I will be there. So I pass that on.
Nice, yeah, thanks for sharing that with the group. Any other announcements for the good of the group? Well, it's my honor to introduce Doug Rhodes. Doug has spoken to the group before, been a few months, but he had another message you want to come back and share. Doug is an Air Force retired senior master sergeant, am I getting that right? No. Master sergeant, okay, so, sorry I promoted you to one rank and one. But Doug participates in our climbing program. Got to know him over the last few months, and I'm eager to hear his story. So Doug, come on up. It'll work right here unless you, yeah, it should be fine.
Just a second. Thank you and good morning. My name is Doug Rhodes. I'm a retired Master Sergeant from our United States Air Force. First, I want to thank Carl for presenting this opportunity to me, because when he said it, first it was, please come to the Metroport Veterans Association meeting on the second Saturday of the month. And he said, oh, by the way, I think you'd probably be a good speaker, and I'd like you to speak. And I scratched my head really hard, and that's why I have the hair I have on my head, laughing. But I decided to take up that challenge, and here I am this morning. I want to thank Zach for helping me put together the slides, because otherwise my slide presentation would have been like a crazy uncle with a projector and a slide reel of slides, and it would have been 2 hours easy, 3 hours, or I could have just as easily gone a full 8-hour training day, because I am trained as a technical training instructor in our United States Air Force. I taught fire protection for 8 years. So one of the things I wanted to do was, this will be the second time in my life that this presentation will have been shown. The first time was at my retirement ceremony on the 17th of December, 2004. So this is going to be the second time in public this will be seen. There is music that goes with this. My friend Joe Bella, Master Sergeant retired, put this together for me, because my statement to him and everybody in the small detachment I was assigned to was, it doesn't matter, all I want to do is get a handshake and a thank you, and I'm done, because I decided to retire. But this is something Joe put together, and there are pictures in this presentation that will relate to some of the pictures that I've chosen to show afterwards. So. Believe me, 4.5 minutes on my retirement ceremony, yes, everybody had to go through that. And these pictures are from the 1900s, the 1970s to be exact. And there is one thing too. I'm pretty certain I'm in most all of these pictures, or if I'm not, I took them. So, there is a time when I did have hair and freckles to boot. I tried baseball. I was okay. I wanted to be a catcher, so the hardest position on the field. You can tell it's the 70s by the hairstyle. Yes, I was a pimply-faced teenager. Just about anything and everything about the 70s, I got a chance to go through. That's my brother and I in Phoenix, Arizona. He came down for a visit when I was stationed at Luke Air Force Base. We were on our way to visit our mother who worked downtown in Phoenix. I got promoted to buck sergeant once when the Air Force still had buck sergeants. And it's me and Colonel Houlihan and our fire chief, Jim Grant. I was happy to be promoted to buck sergeant. Again, another picture proving, yes, I did have hair at one time. That's my young family, my wife and 2 oldest children. That was a long time ago. You can tell that's old because it says Old Mills on it. Took a lot of pride in when I lived on Chanute Air Force Base. My family and I were the last family to be chosen as grand prize winners for the season at Chanute Air Force Base in Illinois in 1992. I think it's kind of honorific because my wife and I, my family, we put a lot of dedication into our yard. And I'm just glad that it got recognized. That's my family, my brother, sister-in-law, nephew and niece, my mother and stepfather, and my children and wife. That's up at Fort Meade, out in front of my quarters there. That's the Putney Road Station in London, in England. And this is to prove, yes, I'm a family man. I do have one. That's in San Antonio. That's the USS Yorktown in Charleston, South Carolina. I had to think, what flat top is that? And that's the Yorktown. That was after we dropped off our car and we shipped to Turkey, as I was stationed in the Air Base. That's my mother, stepfather, myself, and my brother. We drove down to Hill Air Force Base. He's a retired Chief Warrant Officer in our 3 in our Army. We were honoring my grandfather who passed away. That's actually the last day I spent in a fire station. That's at Comiso Air Station, Sicily. I went through NCO Leadership School, and that was my version of the semi-formal dress. That's myself and Guillermo Bill Torres Luna. He was a staff sergeant at my first Air Force base, Florida. And he was a mentor to me. He did tell me one thing: if he and I were together, that's fine. If we do silly things together, it's okay. But if I'm doing silly things on my own and he's with somebody else and they come upon me, I'm on my own. I have to pay the price. And I appreciated that. That picture is at Zaragoza Air Base in Spain in June of 1989. 7 years after I was stationed with him, and we were opponents on the soccer field. I'm getting a commendation medal. I think it's maybe the first one I got. And that was a while ago because I was still a staff sergeant. I did go to NCO Leadership Academy at Lackland, and the circle shows where I am. And all of us have a funny sunburn on our foreheads because of our flight caps. We were out in the sun, and it was February, and we got sunburned. And yes, I do know how to drive a podium as a technical training instructor. I forget which one I'm making, but I'm making one. I'm briefing Major General Lance Lord in front of Norman Brown Air Force Base, and I have some more pictures of that HO scale model of an Air Force base. But I think I know what I was talking about, so I talked about it, and I let the general know what we did in training our staff sergeants so they could earn their 7 level in our career field. That's the cadre of instructors at Chanute Air Force Base. I am in that picture. I'm on the far right. I'm the last person in line over there. But that's a very hardy group of individuals, very well trained, very knowledgeable on what we did. And there's another picture of a handful of those instructors and myself later on at a reunion from April of 2022. That's actually the first class I taught of firefighters, an aircraft crash firefighter. And yes, I look at that picture and I say to myself, I am a badass. Excuse me, but yes I am. Because I got the opportunity to teach some young men and some airmen how to be a firefighter and how to perform crash firefighting. This is my first management principles class. These were returning students from bases, and I taught them how to do the job and be a supervisor and the incident command system. That's me and my father. It's the last time I had a chance to see him before he passed away when I was stationed at Luke Air Force Base in Arizona. And that's me going through training. I'm in the circle. So yes, I was trained as a firefighter. This is the award for the squadron, the 312 Training Squadron. We won the Unit Safety Award for the year, and I was recognized as being the Unit Safety Rep of the Year. It's one of my 3 CCAF degrees that I received. Graduating from the Defense Information School as a radio and television broadcaster. Me and my brother, again, you saw pictures of us earlier. We were small and young. That's before he became a warrant officer. We were both E6s, and my family wanted pictures of us together, so there you go. Being inducted into the senior NCO cadre with Colonel Dashrenkus and Chief Master of the Air Force Binnicker, James Binnicker. I was privileged enough to be part of the team that wrote 2 promotion tests, and this is one of the teams that I was on down in San Antonio at Randolph Air Force Base. General John Jumper and the Secretary of the Air Force visited Injulik Air Base and took a picture with us. It was the holiday season, and really appreciated them being able to visit and share the days with us. And that's me towards the beginning, and that's me at the end. And that's the retirement presentation. I didn't intend to say anything, but all that music and silence kind of doesn't need to go. All right. Again, that's me. I'm retired. Well, let's go ahead and do the first segment, or video and audio. Just one of them.
What do you want?
One of the pictures with the audio. The radio clip. Yeah, first one from this one. Okay, that's fine. My intention was to share a couple of minutes of me opening a radio show in Turkey when I was on the air, but we're gonna skip that. Again, it's me. Nope. Again, me and Bill. That's when I was an airman, and that's, second picture is 2014. He lived in Manta, Ecuador, and he was in Philadelphia to have a procedure done on his knees at the VA hospital in Philly. I happened to be in Philadelphia that weekend because I was going to a soccer game. Found out he was there, we hooked up and I stayed with him that weekend. But those pictures are light years apart. Light years apart. For me, it's important to know that the people who were there at the beginning of my career were there after my career, and they're still parts of my life. Even though my friend Bill has passed away, I think about him a lot. The top picture is a picture from the alarm room at Clark Air Base, the fire department, looking out over the airfield. The truck on the left is a AS-32P2 fire truck. I brought it to schools.
Cat-like reflex.
Demonstration and performance. I brought
That's from climbing right there.
my notes. The truck with the 13 on it carries 2,300 gallons of water, 200 gallons of foam, and weighs 22 tons empty. Has a 1,400 GPM, gallons per minute pump. And it's an 8x8 drive with 2 diesel engines. The truck on the right is an AS-32P15 fire truck that holds 6,100 gallons of water, 515 gallons of foam. Empty, it weighs 65 tons. It's an 8x8 drive and it has 2 1,200 gallon per minute turrets that are manned that are on top of the truck. And I can definitely tell you that on a 11,000 foot runway, that vehicle on the left will reach, my left, will reach 75, 80 miles an hour on an 11,000 foot runway when you start at one end and drive to the other, because I've done it. These are the fire trucks at Tomaso Air Station in Sicily where I was assigned. There's 2 P8s and a P10 rescue truck. I went there and I had my first 8-hour-a-day job. I was the assistant chief of training and I did some assistant chief of operations. I also served in the Civil Air Patrol. These are a couple of aircraft from the Maryland wing. The bottom picture there is, it's reported, and it's apocryphal to me, but that's where Steven Spielberg has land in Maryland. And it just so happens he put a tank on his land. And when you fly over the Chesapeake Bay and you fly over Steven Spielberg's property, you have to take a picture of the tank. So I did. And this is me serving in the Civil Air Patrol. I spent 6.5 years after I retired in the Civil Air Patrol doing what I did in the Air Force. I was a training manager. I was a professional development officer and a public affairs officer for the squadron I was assigned to. I even was a deputy commander of the Civil Air Patrol Squadron, and for a few months I was the commander, which is, to me, looking back, kind of a scary proposition. But anyway, I enjoyed my time in the Civil Air Patrol. I'm not a pilot, but they took me up in airplanes, which was fine by me because I like to fly. These are pictures here in Texas from a mission that I was on during 2016 when it flooded. After all those rains, these pictures are from, I want to say, one of the lakes down near, going down 45, and that's right. The picture on the left is actually a picture of the Trinity River as we were making our approach back to Love Field. And you can tell it had been raining because the Trinity River is full. And it was back in 2016. I went with my friend David Isaac when he asked me to fly with him, and there's a picture of once he let me fly the plane for about 15 minutes. So it was straight and level, thank goodness. And it was way up in the air, so it wasn't a chance of me having an accident. I like monuments. Again, that's me and my brother. You've seen a couple pictures of us together. And that's the Panama Canal. the picture of us together is in the St. Louis Arch. The Panama Canal picture is there because I always wanted to see it. I got a chance to see it because you can see on TV all of the building of the Panama Canal, how it's built, why it was built, the necessity of it. But when you see it for yourself, it's kind of awesome. And I really did have a great deal of enjoyment from seeing that back in 2019. I'm in the military, so things about the military please me. The flag on the left, my left, your right, your left, is the parade ground for me. I would often go to the parade ground at 5 p.m. to make sure that I was there for retreat. Because every day, 7 days a week, they did reveille, retreat, and at night they did taps. I appreciate my ability to be able to show respect to my flag, and I was more than honored to do so. The middle picture is the Air Force Memorial in DC, and the other picture is the 9/11 Memorial outside of the Pentagon. I chose to show it because it's a very moving and touching place. I'm not going to lie to you, when I went there, I cried because of the significance of the events that happened outside of the Pentagon. If you get a chance to do or go someplace like that, I encourage it because you will feel moved by what you see and what you experience. I also like Star Trek and comic books. I got a chance to meet William Shatner in 2016. And I also got a chance to have my picture taken with Stan Lee. Two of the icons, the greats of science fiction and comic book lore. And William Shatner also bossed me around in Las Vegas because we were taking pictures on a recreated set at the Enterprise, and he bossed me around. So yeah, I've been bossed around by Admiral Kirk. The picture in the middle is my last official duty day before I went and weighed in and did my final out appointments. I'm wearing a field jacket in that BDU style, but when I went and stepped on the scale, I weighed 210 pounds, fully clothed with boots on. And it's like, oh no, I cannot have this. Picture on the left are two guys that I lived with when I was in the Philippines. I asked them to come to my retirement ceremony. They did. Just to show that life in the military goes full circle. The picture on the right is from last December. Myself and three of those guys, Dave Merrill, Joe Daniels, and Al Harris, were at my first duty station in Clark, in the Philippines. Again, I chose this picture because just to show that, hey, life is full circle. These guys are still part of my life, even though it's been 40 years since we first were together. And it's important. I'm glad I have them because I need them. Probably more so now than I did when I was a silly young man. These are some pictures of Norman Brown Air Force Base and the Fire Academy down in San Angelo, Texas. I encourage you, if you have a chance to go there, and ask to be shown some of these things in the slides that I'm going to show. You remember that picture of the cadre instructors from my retirement presentation? Well, here are some of them from April 2022, and I'm on the far right. There's a lot of experience and wisdom in fire protection in the Air Force in this picture, and I'm just very happy that I was a small part of it. This is Norman Brown Air Force Base, the HO scale model that you saw a picture of me briefing General Lance Moore about. This is the city outside of Norman Brown Air Force Base, Mooresville, named after Randy Moore, retired senior master sergeant from the Air Force and retired course director for all of the courses down at the Fire Academy. This is so that we can teach people how to manage the incident command system without taking them out, burning fuel, throwing water around, and doing all the physical activity. This is a mental, vocal exercise location only. But you can make people sweat when you give them enough chances to. This is the Air Force Base. It's really fun. I enjoyed it. When I first saw it, I wanted to be part of it, and I got the chance. It has a runway, tower, all the things that you would consider on an Air Force base, all of the activities they take place. You can do them in about that much time, too. You don't have to wait for it to happen in real time. The training that they do now, they remotely teach the students how to do emergency response, CPR, emergency medical, and that's the evaluation station. They put them in a room, give them a practice dummy, and say, okay, practice dummy has a heart attack, what are you going to do? And they evaluate it remotely. The picture on my left is the search and rescue training. The aluminum is on the walls because all of the equipment that a firefighter wears while they crawl around inside of a structure like that would tear the walls out. So there's metal on the wall so that doesn't happen. These are pictures of the fire ground, the training ground down at Goodfellow. There are a lot of static aircraft, and there are a lot of static displays and a lot of static things that are used to teach young students and returning students how to be firefighters. On the left is a burn building. Right there is a group of Marine students being taught how to put out interior firefighters in a structure. On the left is the large frame aircraft firefighting trainer. When I started, we would use 1,500 gallons of contaminated jet fuel to make a fire around that. And when we used the small frame, we'd use 500 gallons of jet fuel. Here, it's water inside the burn pit, and it's liquefied natural gas with only a small amount, 5 or 10 gallons of jet fuel to give it smoke. And the students are asked to put it out with the firefighting equipment. They did that for us when we went to the reunion and the firefighter memorial weekend. And these are some of the fire trucks that are on static display down at Goodfellow. Again, I would encourage you to take the opportunity to go down there. This is along the troop walk where the students walk from where they stay to the fire academy, and they get a chance to see these vehicles and the history and learn the history of these vehicles. When I did go last April, Chief Jerry Hall put together this fire suppression kit. It holds 83 gallons of water and foam, capable of producing, wrote it down, 690 gallons of firefighting foam. This piece of equipment, the HH-43 Pedro helicopter and that fire suppression kit were used pretty extensively in Vietnam and Southeast Asia to be able to go and rescue down aircraft and aircrew so they could put the fire out and get them out, because it was much faster than trying to drive a fire truck through a bunch of brush and junk. They could get the helicopter off the ground in a minute. There were 2 firefighters and rescue men or PJ on the helicopter, and they would go in and they would save the lives of the aircrew if they could, if it was possible. That's the pavilion at Goodfellow where there's a firefighter fallen memorial. It's a military firefighter fallen memorial where they add bricks every year for fallen firefighters, and they honor them with the last bell ceremony. There unfortunately are too many names on bricks on the ground there, but it has happened. This is important because during my Air Force career, this was prevalent for me. Soccer is life. Literally, soccer is life. And this quote from Danny Rojas and Ted Lasso fits. So these are some pictures of me playing soccer during my Air Force career, a couple before. These are the base teams at Clark Air Base over in the Philippines. On the left, Subic Bay. We went to the Navy base and played against the Marines and the Navy. Don't ask me what the results were because it doesn't matter. We had fun, and it was a chance for us to recreate and hang out with the Marines and the Navy. On the right is at Clark Air Base. Me, part of the team. Now, I've put these pictures together for a reason, because the person in this picture is the reason why I can't play this position anymore at my age. I was a goalkeeper for a long period of time when I played soccer. But this person dominates my mind when I play soccer. So I can't let him dominate my mind when I play soccer like I did this past Wednesday. So as you can see, that 19-year-old, 17-year-old person, he doesn't have a problem throwing around my body. These are pictures of proof that he can. So guess what? I don't let him anymore. I play other positions other than goalkeeper. The picture in the middle again, it's me and my brother from my high school yearbook. He was a defender and I was the goalkeeper on the team when I was a senior in high school. But this is my reason why I'm not a goalkeeper when I play soccer. And these are various teams I've been a part of. The one in the top is my first coaching experience. And I've got some pictures from my last coaching experience as well. I played for the San Jose Rovers, used to have a U19 team. The picture of me in the yellow, I am in the yellow, is from Comiso Air Station. There was a picture of me and Bill earlier, where I'm wearing that. And the other picture, black and white pictures from McCord Air Force Base, 1985. Played at Little Rock Air Force Base in Arkansas. I took a lot of pleasure representing the bases where I was assigned on the varsity teams of those bases. And just to prove, yes, there's a picture of me playing soccer, but I was the oddball. After the first game that I watched my junior year in high school, football, regular gridiron, running into each other football, I went to the coach of the football team and said, I want to be a kicker. Yeah, I know, I play goalkeeper and I touch the ball with my hands in soccer, but I want to kick the football. So he let me, and those are a couple of pictures proving that yes, I did do that. And I enjoyed it, it was fun. This is my last coaching experience. This was at Incirlik Air Base, Turkey. The year before, I literally had my behind kicked by the other teams at the USAC soccer tournament. We only had 14 players. One guy broke his arm. The other had made a commitment to be part of the wedding. So we only had 12 players against 18 other players on the other teams. I went to the gym staff January of 2001 and said, I want to be the soccer coach. And they said, why? And I said, because I don't want to see this team get its butt kicked. So I coached the soccer team. I started early and I told the players first off, look, we're in the military. So in my book, if your military duties take precedence, that's the way it should be. Because we're in the military, our jobs come first. Soccer, we're playing, we get to do it. But we're going to train enough and we're going to practice enough that when we do it, we're going to be good. We're going to be better than when we started, isn't it? I set up training for 3 days a week and we had a scrimmage and kick around on Sundays. Because I was honest with them and told them, your duties come first, we're going to practice enough, show up. I regularly had 30 to 35 people show up and practice 3 days a week and on Sunday. We played against the Turkish Air Force teams who had a league on Incirlik Air Base. We played against the British Air Force who had a contingent at the base. We played off base. We took a 14-hour bus trip to Izmir Air Station and played a couple of games against them. The young man next to me is a goalkeeper. I chose him from Izmir. I wanted him to be my goalkeeper. I'm not sure if there's a picture of Jason. I picked Jason Barton to be the captain, and I would talk to him only during games because I'd seen plenty of coaches during my time as a referee and as an opposing coach where there's a guy on the sideline jumping up and down, yelling and screaming at players when he should just shut the hell up, let them play. So I did that, and I only talked to the captain. The picture on the left requires an explanation, and I'll keep it short. The night before the first game, we had an icebreaker coaches meeting, and I told the other coaches, I think we should play 30 minutes of extra soccer because I don't want to go to straight to penalty kicks. 6-team tournament, they all agreed and said, okay, we do that. Our first game was against the defending champions, Fairford Air Base from England. They scored their first goal at 20 minutes. We held them. At 89 minutes and 45 seconds, so the assistant referee told me after the game, we tied the game on a long throw in and a header. So we went to extra soccer. At 108 minutes, the team I was coaching scored its second goal. At 112 minutes, we scored our third goal. We beat the defending champions in extra time, 3-1. The the coach came over from Fairford and said, "What the hell did you do with these guys?" And I was told him I was honest. I got them to think alike, I got them to play alike, I got them to like each other, and I got them to have one purpose, and that was to play a good game of soccer. And he said, "Well, you did it." It was one of the proudest moments in my life, with me being involved in soccer, that I was able to guide a group of guys from everywhere around the world at our Air Force Base and get them to play the game of soccer. We beat them. We ended up being the second place team for the tournament, and we got to represent the Air Force versus the Army a month later in Wiesbaden, Germany. So when I went back, because I was the detachment chief at the AFN detachment in Interlaken, I got to go to the wing staff meeting. So it was my privilege to take the second place trophy and the fourth place trophy from the U.S. Army tournament and give them to the commander and introduce a couple of soccer players to boot because they earned it. There were only 4 teams in the U.S. Army soccer tournament, by the way. We did bring home the fourth place trophy. Kind of happy with that too. All right, cooking is catharsis. I was told, talk about your Air Force career, talk about your life, talk about what you've been doing after the Air Force. For me, cooking is catharsis. And I've got some pictures to prove it. There's a reason why cooking is catharsis for me. It's a cathartic behavior. And this is the time for me to be honest with y'all. Okay? And no, this is not an AA meeting, but I am an alcoholic. I do attend AA. My sobriety date is the 23rd of May, 2022. I had to establish that for a reason, because I got arrested in Louisville, Texas, spent a night in jail, and I had a lawyer in Denton County that suggested that I go through the Veterans Treatment Court. I didn't think I qualified. I pictured a guy that was standing on the median with a sign that said needs help. That was the veteran I thought needed Veterans Treatment Court. Wasn't me. I was wrong. And the things that I've been learning about myself since I've been in the program, Carl has helped me because he's my counselor, and he's doing a damn fine job in my life. And Zach has become my friend, and I'm very grateful for that. But these are ways that I keep myself calm. I cook. On my right, on your left, that's goulash. On the left, those are 3 pans of lasagna. When I cook, I cook. I mean it. Those 3 pans I made on New Year's Day, 2023, because I wanted to. The goulash I prepare because every month at the group that I attend for AA, they have a birthday celebration. And I get a lot of gratitude to be able to bring food for that birthday celebration. So that's why I make so much. God, share. I can make spaghetti, and oh yes, I can grill pork loins. I can also make Thanksgiving dinner. And you talked about rice-a-roni and Spanish rice. Rice-a-roni doesn't have anything on me. I make my own Spanish rice. I make my own rice-a-roni. I take vermicelli, jasmine rice, and I throw that in a pan. No recipe, I just throw it in a pan and off we go. And that's it. So that's how and where and what I've been, what I've done, and who I am. Thank you for letting me share the one bit of information about myself, because I've found in the last 10 months that it's important for me to share. I'm better off for where I am today than I was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 15 or 20 years ago. I'm way better off today than I was. And the best thing for me is I get to do it with a sober mind. I did bring some props. I brought my Attaboy binder and some pictures in a scrapbook. I put together a scrapbook. What was I thinking? Along with some boots and my helmet from when I was a firefighter. And yes, I did bring my prop so that we could start a conversation. And no, it's not a demonstration performance piece, but I brought it anyway. So thank you. I appreciate being able to speak. because it's something that I'm grateful that I can do, because I'm trained to do this stuff, and I don't have a problem doing it, so thank you.
Before you sit down, anybody have any questions for Doug?
Questions? Questions for Doug? Yes, questions. I forgot that.
You didn't talk much about being a broadcaster. You want to mention that part of your Air Force?
I was going to use a couple of clips to let you hear what I did on the radio.
Yeah, Kathy screwed that.
Kathy's heard it? Well, I joined the Air Force. I wanted to be a German linguist. I admitted some things to the recruiter and the MEPS and they said, no, you can't. And they said, you can be a firefighter. I'll take it. I want to be a firefighter, just like every other kid on the planet. I also had a dream. I wanted to be a radio DJ. I got a chance in San Angelo while attending Angelo State to be a DJ part-time because I took an internship to learn how to make commercials on the radio. Told the program director, hey, if a chance comes for me to go be a DJ, I want to do it. That chance came up, and for 2 years I was a part-time DJ in San Angelo. One of my co-workers at the Fire Academy said they need tech sergeants to retrain, to broadcasting, AFRTS. Thought about it, told my family I could do it. I'd still be in the Air Force getting paid, and I'd be a broadcaster. I'd be able to go on the radio. The only downside was we have to go overseas because that's where all the broadcasting assignments were. I got enthusiastic, yes, let's do this. So I went to and retrained in 1997. I was the class leader. I had the most time in service. I was the highest ranking person in my class. But I did graduate. I have a picture to prove it, and you all saw it. And I became a radio and TV broadcaster. My fellow broadcasters asked me, why? My answer was simple. The Air Force let me. Because if I had waited another 6 months before doing what I did, I couldn't have done it. Because at 16 years in service, you cannot voluntarily retrain. You can be mandatorily retrained, but not voluntarily. So my timing was good. And that's how I became a radio and television broadcaster. My only broadcast assignment was in Turkey. I went there, and I was the NCIC of radio, which means I went from being a part-time DJ to being the guy in charge of the radio. Program director, newsreader, spot producer, on-air talent. I did it all. And the ops manager and the debt chief knew that, so they cut me loose. And I enjoyed it. I spent a lot of duty hours at the station because I wanted to be there. And then I fortunately got promoted to E7, and they asked me to be the debt chief at that detachment. And I look back and go, I had the best job on base. All I have to do is listen to the radio, watch TV, sit in my office, and make sure nobody makes mistakes. I'm good. And I also realized that our mission was important. The people didn't work for me. We all worked together for the commander. Our job was to get the commander's intent and his message out to our audience, which numbered almost 9,000 people during Operation Northern Watch, because I was in Turkey when Northern Watch was active. So we had crews rotating in and out. We're flying over the Northern No-Fly Zone in Iraq. And I did get a chance to go on one mission on a RAF PC-10. Flew over the Iraq border, so I can say that's the closest I've been to real combat. But I did get to fly over the border. And it's the only time in my life I ever stood up when an airplane was landing, because I was looking down the lens of a camera, pointed out the nose of the airplane, and I was standing up. It's the only time I've stood up when a plane's landing. I'm kind of happy with that, because I'm usually sitting. Any other questions?
The biggest fire you put out?
Good question, and the Air Force and the Department of Defense has a very aggressive fire prevention policy. They do not want fires to happen. So if you hear the word safety and fire prevention, they're very important. Personally, the biggest fire was like the picture of the slide that I showed you with the large frame aircraft. That's the biggest fire I've ever put out. I've responded to fires. I went to an elementary school building that was on fire when I was off duty. I went into one of the clubs in Clark where we had to go through because there had been a kitchen fire and a grease fire and the duct work. I've done that. But the training fires are the biggest actual fires because of the aggression that the Department of Defense, the Air Force, and all the branches use for fire prevention. That's why the first week of October, that includes the 10th of October, is Fire Prevention Week because of the mythological Mrs. O'Leary's cow hanging over the lantern in Chicago. That's the date of the Great Chicago Fire. That's why that's Fire Prevention Week. So I'm happy to say that I did my part for fire prevention, not necessarily fire suppression.
Did you try the balloon while you were in the Philippines?
Did I what?
Did you try the balloon while you were in the Philippines?
Oh, hell no. Because it would be in a jar in the bar and it'd be like, oh no, no. Not even. On purpose. No.
Yeah.
You've done a little research lately on GI Bill.
Have I?
I thought we talked about you were going to maybe go back to school or something. Have you learned anything about that?
Well, I have I believe it's a COE, at least on the website for the GI or VA. I have a COE that says I 36 months earned, 0 months used, with an expiration date of 1 April 2020. So I'm going to have to find out if I can still use my post 9/11 GI Bill, even though I haven't never used it. I have enrolled in school to finish something I started 30 years ago. I want to get the piece of paper that says I've done it, that I've got a degree in communication specializing in broadcasting. It's time I finished. It's been 30 years. And we'll see what the University of Texas at Arlington can do for me, because I would like to finish my schooling economically, time-wise, in the least amount of time possible. So if they can do that for me and the VA can help me, I'm gonna do it. Get it done.
Any other questions?
I'm saying if you want to talk to me afterwards, I can probably help you out.
There's a reason I asked that question.
Oh, sorry.
And I've already befriended him on Facebook.
Before you sit down, I know I've probably already done this before. Have I given you a coffee card before? Well, here you go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for being part of our community. Anybody else have anything for the good of the group?
Did I bust the time on
You're good. I was keeping time on it. All right. Well, nice. Come back next month. Bring somebody.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, everyone.
Nice job.
But the guy.
It's like, so, what size we don't know, so I guess it's not the
I forgot to say I'm probably the only person that got Nikolai Volkov to sing the Soviet national anthem on the radio.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to stop the live broadcast.
Or did I say that on the air?
That's all right.